4. Development of a personal union between the financial oligarchy and the U.S. government in the post-war period. Post-war economic dominance. In the post-war period, the largest monopolies in the United States increasingly subordinated the state apparatus, accelerating the development of state monopoly capitalism. Concentration of production and capital. The concentration of production and centralization of capital increased significantly during the war years, enhancing the dominance of monopolies in the post-war economy. Militarization and monopolies. The militarization of the economy and preparations for a new world war by U.S. imperialists increased the importance of the state apparatus for the enrichment of monopolies. Monopolists in government. The penetration of monopolists into the state apparatus became widespread and overt, with representatives of the largest U.S. monopolies openly advocating for control over the government. Prominent calls for action. Leaders like Welch of Standard Oil and authors like Randall urged businesspeople to actively participate in government to influence both foreign and domestic policies. Shift in economic power. Post-war changes led to a significant shift in the balance of power among major U.S. financial groups, particularly the Morgan and Rockefeller groups. Morgan Group's influence. The Morgan Group maintained a strong influence, securing key government positions, including the Secretary of State, George Marshall, and other diplomatic and military roles. Rockefeller Group's rise. The Rockefeller Group's influence grew significantly, especially in areas related to international affairs, with key positions like the Department of Defense falling under their control. Government and business integration. The integration of business leaders into government roles became more pronounced, with many high-ranking government officials coming directly from large monopolies. State monopolization. The monopolist control of state functions was openly acknowledged, with figures like Charles E. Wilson of General Electric describing their role in shaping science, education, and social progress. Rockefeller Group's control. The Rockefeller Group took control of key organizations like the Committee for Financing Reconstruction and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, influencing international expansion and the issuance of loans. Prominent appointments. Key figures from the Rockefeller Group, such as Winthrop Aldrich and John McCloy, held significant positions, with Eugene Black later leading the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Government influence. Averell Harriman, a major financier, became Secretary of Commerce under Truman, bringing along many associates, aligning government policies with business interests. Regional financial groups. The post-war period saw regional financial groups gain influence. John Snyder, a banker from St. Louis, became Secretary of the Treasury, while representatives from the Chicago Group assumed key roles in aviation. Shifts in power. Personal changes in Truman's cabinet reflected the ongoing power struggle among monopoly groups. The Rockefeller Group gained control over the Department of State, while the DuPont Group solidified its position in defense. Business and military alliance. There was a growing integration between business leaders and military officials, with many military personnel transitioning to influential positions within major corporations. Eisenhower administration. By 1953, the Eisenhower cabinet was dominated by representatives from major monopolistic groups. The cabinet's composition reflected shifts in the balance of power among financial cliques. DuPont and Rockefeller dominance. The DuPont Group controlled key defense and interior positions, while the Rockefeller Group held the Secretary of State and Justice posts, indicating their expanded influence. Regional growth. New financial centers emerged in California and Texas, with figures like Nixon representing the Californian Giannini Group, while Texas businessmen sought greater influence. Businessmen in government. The Eisenhower administration saw a significant increase in businessmen holding government positions, marking a shift towards a government of businessmen. Monopoly influence. The state apparatus was increasingly subordinated to monopolies, with government functions aligning closely with business interests, leading to increased profits for monopolies and reduced democratic freedoms. Merging of state and business. Observers noted the transformation of the government into a corporate-like entity, driven by the merger of monopolies with state functions.